a little talk. I was just watching on CBS where you guys talking about somebody being a bleep. And this is regarding our communications about you guys preventing mandated law by pretending sensibilities towards behavior as crime roles, preventing crime acts from being reported, pretending you don't understand what people say as crime rolls interbranch, intercity, recorded through time, sustained on urban areas, on a whole bunch of little girls right now, tied to tied to that little Eve. Still, as a grown woman, you can still see the little girl in her came through a campus that never had a chance. Not for I'm not talking about money in this value nature system. I'm talking about the value of the quality of fact sheet in nature she's capable of, which is recorded tool incapable, worse than that, because then defending that sensibilities that in the only position where we have all the answers we need recorded. We have fake recorded, stuck interbranch, intercampuses through time for sustained fake news crime acts of juxtaposed natures of crime. WFSB, that's CVS, with other Connecticut media. These are with groups with recorded crime racks and rolls and criminal insidious natures with overt criminal enterprises in the area through time, juxtapose other hundreds of nations, for shared nave, quality fact, cheap nature at Trade Center agreement, not by accident. We have machines, but we have the pathology of tactically denatured relationship to nature valued, even by Native Americans forced to tactically ulterior than reality's value nature position, progression, perfect other value nature systems, in fact, cheapening natures of that and positive by that as jobs, all right, as sciences, but they're not science. So defenses of that offensively as real science, as theater science, is manifest because of our obligations to not rest on the concepts of service titles and their forsaken roles with everything forsaken. It's to address this. And the reason all these people are with all these, the reason all these people are with these stories through time and hurt is because how it was leveraged by what is intercity maintained, worse than interstate, criminally foreign influence, intercampuses, crime method, bonding all to roles as live progression covering up natures. This originally and still is recorded effectively maintaining overt criminal enterprises and all this associated with branches originally propagated as live progression cover up natures predators, criminally foreign influenced and delusions wrought intersciences, identity theft rackets with color. Quality of fact, cheap in nature, all fake. That all fake theater forward, preventing free speech from demonstrating the physical delusions associated with color treatments right now, hurting little kids, especially little girls. They never had a chance. Being told to blame it on other causes, other things themselves, and then to defend those, they're being exploited because they're using fake passions, fake anger and stuff like that with experts on how to deal with each cage, each age of fact treatment nature, with on-off campuses policing incapable of defending themselves and their treatments of other people because they're pretending that their identity is the law. They're pieces of garbage when it comes to correlation. They're not their own value. Their negative value nature. And that is roles, tools maintained by the knaves that every modern nation is an identity of negative value nature progression. Our founders didn't have free speech because they stuck up a constitution and a Declaration of Independence. they're criminally foreign influence, the delusions wrought to pretend that the FBI has integrity, and they know that, and they're not letting the president demonstrate it. CNN knows that they have crime rolls exploiting lies that they know they're not supposed to tell, and ones that are already revealed by Russians and other Russians recorded and confessed with it with CT media crimes, and with all the foreign and domestic involved with CCSU on off campuses crimes leading up to the Trade Center crime. These are other natures and methods of crimes all juxtaposed. This is preventing people from helping out others really, where it counts. This is preventing real men from speaking up, from girls being forced into roles with this, because it starts in the grammar school with their identity theft rackets. We have interbranch fakes from my town, many, through time, recorded. They're recorded needing now to pretend things recorded into databases, interbranch, and intercampuses, and having done so. And doing so also as recorded male crimes and other predicate acts and drug crimes and other sex crimes with the principal sex offender. They force sustained by wire crimes and by not letting tied confections and natures of crime acts that brought that campus and that guy up in the first place, that they forced sustained too. They hid that with that too. He only got caught with that other by accident. They forced me. I have no criminal record, but they forced me 6 months in jail with a $100,000 bond. I couldn't pay. In the jail, recorded before that, the doctor of the principal sex offender and the others involved with his campuses and other campuses. This was how it's other campuses at the time. Also with Dr. Graham and a Phil Cololo and other doctors recorded and confessed with physical delusions and with crime rolls with houses in my area through time criminally involved with various natures of agents and their family members sick. The little fakes. So now we have fake news crime acts covering their live progressions because they grew up attaching me to fake conversations, fake locations and databases, fake ties to other, and all the exceptions are criminally exploited per reasons they can't admit on all sides, per the overt criminal enterprises. See, they're locking the little kids into recorded through time, them having spreading lies about criminal foreign influence, criminal enterprises, using interbranch families in collusion, covering up lie progressions that they demonstrated, recorded when I was a kid. Two times I mentioned after the time of the dreidel with Debbie Gold, and then there was one time one was by her volition with others I don't know, following the theater of the interbranch criminal foreign influences tied congressional lies with the O'Brien family and with other families criminally involved down wherever. So now I forgot my point. So you have to fix the fake news crime acts. You have to let a man speak for kids, because we have interbranch women forging names, switching names with interbranch men and women sick together with their own kids. Sick with my name, identity theft crime acts, with doctors tied to these courts criminally involved. And in other cases too, not just this one. And I mean just these, not just with these. And criminal uses of states' attorneys' recordings. So there are whole crime methods not letting be reported. And this is being hid from presidents, and this is being hid from attorney generals. Recorded criminal uses of all the black families and actors I ever seen in town used criminally through time. Fake sides of issues. Crime rolls with the adults now criminally involved with sex offender men and women, and with a bunch of people that confessed and recorded crime rolls, wire crime rolls, male crime rolls, and with interbranch families, and with a probate court's judges' family members, with identity thefts, spreading illusions, acting things tied to that, lying to, like you could lie to a little girl and little boys. they're lying to people in relationship to where they're going to walk after class, in the hallway. Attaching that to people in class is used criminally. A Mike Pandolf and an Eric Jensen recorded and confessed interbranch and drug clicks involved with them criminally with Clint Leggett and his sister, Nicole Leggett. I never had one conversation, anything to do with either of them. This is tied to interbranch crimes with DACA and sciences, and how the sciences connect, because they're keeping that criminally obfuscated. The algebraic equation that is about the identity of all things, still using value G and using the English alphabet, which is about logic. Algebra is about logic. Logic obfuscated by criminal foreign influence and delusions wrought at the same time. Psychology, offensive with offensive evidence reception predators, originally with color and still uncharged, because we have natures and jobs narratives with politicians. Each branch recorded how lifted as victim predator weapons. So we have mandated law not let followed. We have fake women that were raised, recorded, involved with database crimes when they were kids, with drug clicks, identity theft clicks, fakes, told where and when to be, and when, and they exploit it through. These are confessions, recorded crime acts and roles ahead of time and after, and intercity, various natures juxtaposed, keeping people. Anyone's going to be of correlation nature, hurt, and worse and tortured and still cared for, and attached to fake things in database. That keeps everyone not realizing. That's just keeping the real motivations before drugs for the overt criminal enterprises. What's keeping each age of fact cheap in nature, juxtaposed to behavior of crime. Everyone a liar. They're building liars for recorded interbranch sex offenders and stuff like that, and criminal crime acts with the news, fake news natures of crime acts, recorded criminally stacking strangers to pretend others did things that they have to make up in the background, that others have natures and relationships to sequences and people they know that aren't real. All exceptions criminally exploited. Eric Jensen is also, he lived down on Dearborn Street in Newington. I lived in Wethersfield. They put him in my class. He's one of the other people I barely know who confessed and recorded and involved. I met first before that class through and as people all tied to my neighbors here, with the Phil Clow related to him, that the Bob Chase recorded and confessed with the Dr. Graham and others criminally involved with their crime acts and crime acts roles and physical delusions. So we have women judges switching and forging names and attaching me and my family members to fake conversations, forced child abuses. And then when you see you can't even tell the parents of the children because of the nature of how I know. And because they're with offensive evidence crime acts. So that's the only way I can report that is by reporting the acts first. So we have interbranch sex crime acts with their Facebook pages, pretending to be me with a YouTube page, pretending to be with and as recorded sexual harassments of one of the two Saudi families associated with West Hartford, West Farms Mall, and with the spot of the serial killer, real or made up. That guy recorded and confessed involved with military, police, families criminally involved with that spot since I was in high school. And that before that, with medical clicks criminally involved with the child offenders, also as doctors, also various natures of courts and judges, men and women, but they're switching names and sequences and keep because they can't respond because they forged names roles. They're mail crime roles. These are predicate acts also as trade center crime roles. They attach me to fake conversations about police recording equipment with people criminally involved with them, with a Dillon family, with a Fianza family, with fake news crime acts, and with crime acts rolls through time with people associated with the body dumping spot, with Naz, the Fianzas, Intercity, and with areas in my town, and with the South Civio, like a house across the street from them, and then them tied to crimes with other police forms down the road, and with intercity intercampuses criminally used through time, and then those crime acts and questions asked by investigators, prompting this too, so no one understands their roles. They're forcing us to blame each other for things that they're affecting, but criminally. And they're saying, "Oh, how do you know what's criminal?" Because they're perjuring in cases. They recorded sick predators worse than most killers with interbranch forging names, drug crime rolls with kids, needing sex offenders to pretend they have integrity that they don't. Men and women interbranch tied See, they're starting fights with me with the Gallucci family too. Johnny Duke already dead too. Dinosaur boxing. One of the houses and businesses next to Trinity College involved criminally with the IO family, with WFSB, and with federal crime acts using the databases of Trinity College and using UPS and a Joshua Streicher I had a conversation with, also recorded and confessed, involved with drug crimes with UPS through time with the Eric Olivieri and with the Eric Jensen, who lived in another city but went to my thing, also tied to the federal criminals involved with their co-defendant, former director of the FBI, Robert Luskin, with the Eric Jensen tied to the Dearborn Street in Newington, and one of the pension thieves that was also before I got out of high school. While I was still in high school, these people were still telling lies about my father with a local 230, also recorded and confessed and demonstrated involved with sexual harassment and identity thefts, attaching kids to fake conversations, lies about things proven false in courts from years ago that they're still pretending with, and as recorded through time, confessions and demonstrations of crime rolls with overt criminal enterprises, with interbranch families, with sensibilities, also with medical families, criminally upon the kids, with men and women, with databases, having everyone speak through others, not by accident, not naturally, having all interactions not natural, having all theories recorded criminally for an influence, the delusions wrought because of the roles of psychology, especially with the interbranch predators recorded, and with the ones with medical corruption. Also, how they have the private police associated with this, and the various agencies and their family members recorded as degenerates. So the important thing is to follow mandated law and speak about the crime acts recorded, and do not use allegations and pretend to care for allegations as means to deny people who are obligated to be living right now, like me. Fix the fake news crime acts, get the judges' names in sequence, then out of the courts, and with the men and women standing in the courts, forging names, switching names, switching sequences, making confessions, stacking fake arresting officers, switching direction officers, pretending to make mistakes that way. That's recorded, pretending to confess to me and others, torturing each age of women, as fake care for women too. They cannot defend themselves. They are physical delusions and interbranch forging names, crime acts rolls, drug crime rolls, with the context, forging names rolls also with the context with and online crimes that were reportedly tied to the pretended or real death of Hugh Ogden, pretending that I wrote him a letter about asking for a higher grade, pretending I had a conversation and never were. That's why I didn't call him on the phone. I wanted to have the class on the phone, because he was criminally involved with what was from off campuses that already had other people with their college confessed and recorded crime rolls with people that were already criminally involved on off CCSU. With the same cliques, intercity, with drugs and with crimes and cases rolls with as crimes areas, same illusions as they're using all victim predators, people that never had a chance in life, tied to Zion Street, tied to these on-off campuses policing garbage, identities of the law, fakes. They can't defend themselves and us from what keeps them invested through what really was using the overt criminal enterprises. Because then they're prompted to defend theater treatments. Oh, that guy's in other words, they're not dealing with sequence shifts. They're valuing being able to do that. They already did it. They're already standing lie progression, cover up nature's per nature science. Please free speech. Please free what's black and white. Anyone can have opinions, but don't block demonstrations of physical delusions, of identity thefts, forced, not let told. That's not free speech. Forced theater, that's not science. This is about criminal insidiousness nature, the science of the law, the science of the organized crime countering bodies that failed, and why and how. That's the story of our American history. How our founders were identity thefts. Were stolen identities. Our founders were fact cheap in nature slaves, like us, and I want to talk about it. I want to talk about the facts that prove it. In reality. I want to talk about reality because not one network has reality. Please fix the fake news crime acts because it's worse. And you're recording and communicating it's worse because it's already tied to wire crime acts, wire crime methods, sex crime acts and methods recorded, identity theft crime acts and methods, medical crime acts and methods, whole man and female degenerate families recorded identity theft crime acts and records, drug crime rolls formal and with drugs with the cliques tied to database crimes and crime methods on off campus, spreading illusions, each age of faction, consciously building everyone needing to pretend as insidious natures, needing to pretend that behavior is what you discuss the law. Needing to keep the identity of relationship between the emotions and identity's nature, value progression, negative. So the emotions don't work. So sensibilities are tricks. So you're not letting me teach about Jane Austen offensively. Offensive evidence fabrication nature. That's what slavery was. With the black. Slavery of our founders, juxtaposed. Divide and conquer. What do they teach? How do we counter? Oh, we all gather against white supremacy. That's the agency's faults. That's the branch's faults. Sick beasts. They Campus Marcius rises in the East. They can't defend themselves, and also at the same time, not by accident. This was entrenched here, many nations, fake sides, together. Peace in that relationship, that deeply sick together. All that came with that mist. All that was doing mist. All sophistication trapped. Now one has rap.